what are some practical ways that we can purify ourselves from the passions?
Practical ways to purify ourselves from the passions. Well, as an Orthodox Christian, I would say, as a priest, I would say the first thing that one should do, and I'm saying this from my own experience, is that once a passion has been identified, once your spiritual father or you yourself have seen this particular sin is not just an occasional sin, this is a recurring theme. This is something that I fall into more often than I should. This is a theme in my life. Once you identify that, then you go to your spiritual father, and first you go to confession. If you've fallen back into it, you go to confession. That's the first practical thing that one can do when one falters. Run to holy confession. This is part of the medicine that Christ wants to give us. This is part of the therapy, right? To go and receive the holy medicaments, the holy ointments, so to speak. Some of the sacraments are ointments, the unction of the sick, but the holy chrism. But you go to the priest, you confess these things, and then ask them. Chances are your priest might say, look, it's enough of this. We need to come up with a plan. He may invite you to come and meet for a pastoral counseling session so you can come up with a plan to overcome this. And I encourage the people or the person who is trying to overcome these things to indeed meet with their priest. If they haven't had a chance to have this interaction, go to holy confession if the priest didn't say anything, because sometimes there's a lot of things going on and the priest didn't get a chance to articulate this to you. You yourself go to the priest, make an appointment, and start to devise a strategy to overcome this. This is an enemy, and whatever it might be, it has no part in your life. It should have no part in your life. It's destroying you. It's destroying you. So recognize that Christ wants you to overcome this, and He is the victor. He's the conqueror of death, and this passion is something that is leading you to death. So Christ has already conquered this. Now it's a matter of you letting Christ help you. He wants you to overcome this. He will help you, and you will overcome this. But you should do what is necessary. So go to the priest, say, Father, I have a problem with this. I have a problem with lying, or I have a problem with cussing, or anger, wrath, lust, whatever the thing is. Admit it. And then ask them, what do you suggest? And you'll come up with a plan together. Okay, let's do this. Maybe you need to be held accountable more often. And you'll devise the proper therapeutic approach. You know what, from now on, let's hold yourself accountable. Come to confession once a week. That's something that he may or may not say. Or you know what, if this is going on, you need to approach it this way. That's one thing you could do. Another practical thing is to always begin your day with prayer. I mean, this is something that you have had Father Josiah, who is the pastor here, who is the one that I've learned immensely from, my spiritual father, who teaches you have to start everything with prayer. You cannot just live life without starting it with prayer. And especially if you're living your life and you're not starting it with prayer, expect that things are going to go well, or that when you encounter difficulties, you're going to be able to react to them accordingly. You should always, the first practical thing you can do is start at home with prayer. Start your day. As soon as you wake up, give glory to God, make the sign of the cross, go to your prayer corner. If you need to use the restroom first or whatever, do that briefly. Go to your prayer corner and ask the Lord to help you with this day. Consecrate this day to Him. Give Him glory, give Him thanks, give Him praise, and begin your day with Him. And then if He's with you, practically speaking, okay, so if He's with you, whatever comes your way, it's not going to just attack you by yourself. You're with Him now. You're going to look to Him and say, Lord, this person just cut us off. What do we do? And He'll guide you. And you'll know that, okay, I'm with the Prince of Peace. Maybe I don't need to make a big deal out of it. Maybe that's not as important. Lord, this person just did something else. What do I do? Okay. So something happens to you with Christ instead of something happens to you directly. So that's another practical thing is, as Father Josiah has shared on your platform before, have a prayer rule. that's like your daily dosage that you should be taking. This is why when you don't keep your prayer roll, you take it to confession. Father, I'm not keeping my prayer roll. I'm not praying at all, or I'm not doing this. And then your priest, as your spiritual physician, would say, well, this is the dosage we agreed upon. You're not taking your medicine. Of course you keep falling into this sin because you're not at peace. You're not even in communion with God. Those are two simple things, but very practical, very real, very helpful. Take advantage in a good way of the holy mysteries. Go to your priest, establish a connection with your spiritual father. If you don't have a connection to a priest, then make one. If you're going to a parish and you haven't had a chance to connect, or you've been visiting there, or you haven't become formally a member, introduce yourself to the pastor. They should know who you are. They should know who you are. Become a formal member, establish that connection, and begin that filial relationship so that you can be held accountable. Keep your prayer rule, and surround yourself with people that are striving to live the same kind of life that you are. If you keep falling into some sins, and every time you fall into these sins, it's because you're hanging out with certain people, or you meet with people and they tempt you. And so every time after you're done hanging out with them, you fall into this particular vice or passion, even if it's not with them, then you need to revisit that relationship. And you need to talk to them and say, hey, I can't talk about these things, or I can't do those things anymore. I'm changing. I need to do this. And if they're not on the same track or of the same mentality, then you lovingly maybe need to distance yourself from them. You need to surround yourself with people who are striving to go Godward, upward, and onward.